last time we were talking about human environment interaction is where we stopped at with our 5 themes of geography. So kind of a recap. Place could be divided into physical characteristics of a place and human characteristics of a place. And then place is a description of what makes that place different compared to others. All right, so that's what place is when you're describing a place. So for example, if you saw a place and you're describing it, you describe anything about that place that makes it unique compared to others. So if you're in a room and you say, hey, I'm in a room with walls, that doesn't help. That doesn't make the thing unique. I'm in a room with 3 yellow walls and 1 green wall. That makes it unique. Okay, so it's a kind of description what makes that place different compared to others. That was place. Region, you had your defined regions and then kind of your general regions. Defined regions were like Columbus, Indiana, while your general regions were like Southern Indiana. And a region, of course, could be grouped by anything that makes it special compared to other things. So it could be the language in the area, could also be something, or favorite food in the area. And then we did human environmental interaction, which was how people have changed the environment, how the environment has changed people, and what the people depend on from the environment. So we talk about that. So plowing down a hill, for example, to make it flat so I can grow food, wearing a coat because it's cold outside, and then depending on land to produce food. Right? All right. So now we're on to location. Go ahead and make a new bullet and write down location. And for location, when we're talking about that, for location, we're talking about exact location or kind of a general location. Now, exact location is latitude and longitude, like what I showed you guys on Google Earth the other day. Exact location can also be a street address. So when you say 369 24th Avenue, all right, that's a street address. And then you have like City, Columbus, Indiana, 47201, right? So a street address is an exact location. It tells you exactly where that thing is at. Or using latitude and longitude also tells you exactly where something is at. So those are both exact locations. General location, also sometimes called relative location, is when you say, for example, my friend's house is 10 minutes down the road. That's a relative location. So those are relatives. Right? So general, relative is kind of just when you're talking about something else. Indianapolis is 45 minutes away to the north. Louisville is an hour to the south. Cincinnati is an hour and a half to the east. Bloomington is 45 minutes to the west. Okay. Those are all relative locations from where you're at. All right. So that's what that is. Make a number 1 and write down where things are located. So 1, where things are located. And that's either by latitude and longitude, 39 north by 85 west. That's latitude and longitude. Or relative, Indianapolis is 45 minutes to the north. Those are all parts of location. So when you think about location, you're kind of thinking about, where things are located and can the location be more specified and such. So can you find the coordinates in latitude and longitude, or is it more of like general location? Okay, movement. New bullet, movement. So new bullet, movement. So movement is kind of talking about how people move from one place to another, transportation, cars, trucks, train, airplane. Also talking about how goods are physical items that you can have ownership of. So for example, I can buy and have ownership of a candy bar. So how does that candy bar get to the store? How does Mr. Farrar then acquire that candy bar? All right. Those are all part of movement. Okay, so that's movement. Well, and ideas are also movement. So if I learn a awesome idea about how to make a new cake online, how did that idea get to me? It got to me through the internet, but who came up with that idea? How did it then spread to then other people, so forth and so on. So movement is about how people move from place to place, how goods, things that you can buy and have ownership of move from place to place, and how ideas can go from place to place and how did they spread. We can describe the type of communications a place has as well, like the main forms of transportation, as well as what the goods are that are exported and imported. Goods that are exported are things that leave a town. So, for example, in Columbus, our main business is Cummins. So, how do engines get sent out of town? All right. What things get imported to town, like food, for example? These are all come underneath the terms of movement. Go ahead and make a 1, and we're going to write down includes the movement of people, goods, and ideas. So number 1 includes the movement of people, goods, and ideas. Other things to think about when you think about movement is what are the patterns of movement of people, products, and information. A southern movement includes learning about major modes of transportation used by people and areas major exports and imports and ways in which people communicate, movement of ideas. So those all kind of go along with movement as well. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and stop there because that ends our section. So that completes that section of notes about our 5 themes of geography. And then next time, we'll get into our next section. And tomorrow, we'll start up on latitude and longitude tomorrow.